In order to acquire state energy data, we'll need to start with the U.S. Energy Information Administration main page. On that page, we'll go to Geography and then U.S. States. On the U.S. States page, go to Data and then 1960 to 2013 Estimates. On that page, click on Data Files to expand that section, and then under Consumption, we're looking for in BTU, which is the energy unit of interest. And we're going to click on the CSV file. And we'll be prompted to either download it or open it. A CSV, or comma-separated values file, is technically a text file with commas separating columns. However, Excel and other spreadsheet programs typically understand it right away, so you can go ahead and open it. When we open that CSV file, we'll see a lot of data which might look a little intimidating at first, but you should see some recognizable information. Along the top row, you'll notice years, starting in 1960, and when we scroll to the right, ending in 2013, which is the latest data available at the moment that I'm recording this video. In the second column, you'll notice a state abbreviation. Here we're looking at Alaska, repeated over and over again, and if you scroll down far enough, you'll see other states appear as well. However, in the third column, we see some kind of cryptic code, and we don't know what they mean. So in order to find out, we'll need to go back to the web page. If you scroll down, we're looking for codes and descriptions. Click on that, and it'll open up an Excel file. And in that Excel file, we'll be able to see the explanations of those codes, specifically the MSN descriptions. Here you'll see all those codes listed on the left-hand column, and then descriptions of those codes in the middle column. So we're interested in total energy consumption by state. So there's a system to the codes, but shortcut is to know that total energy is going to start with TE. So we'll scroll down to the T's. And we're looking for total energy consumption. And I see it right there, TETCB, total energy consumption. Now it's important to pay attention to the fact that this is listed in billion BTUs in that last third column. And it's important to note that because every kind of data you extract from here will be in different units or potentially in different units, and you need to note that in any table or figure that you create. So TETCB is what we're looking for. So back in our BTU data table, we're going to be looking for data for Massachusetts, and in this case, Pennsylvania, which is the state I'll be comparing for this tutorial. So a quick way to limit the data so that we don't have to look at all the other states is to apply a filter. So I'm going to click on the B column, which highlights that column, and then I'm going to click on the Sort and Filter button, Filter. And what that allows me to do is click on this little down arrow that appears, and I can choose which states I want to see. So I'm going to uncheck Select All, and I'm going to scroll down until I find Massachusetts, and then Pennsylvania, and then hit OK. And it limits those just to those rows for Massachusetts and Pennsylvania. Next, I'm looking for the column with the TETCB code. But before I scroll down, I want to freeze the first row so that I can see the years, because otherwise when I scroll down I can't tell which year I'm looking at. So under the View menu, I'm going to choose Freeze Panes and Freeze Top Row. That way as I scroll down I won't lose the years. So now I'm going to scroll down until I can find that TETCB. There it is, TETCB. And I'm going to want the latest 10 years of available data. So 2013 is the latest data that they have. So I'm going to go from 2013, 2003. That's the data that I'm going to use. So I'm going to put this into a new table so it's nice and clean. So I'm going to add a worksheet in Excel. And in here I'm going to create a simple table. I know I'm going to put years here. So they're going to go from 2003 to 2013. The nice thing in Excel is if you highlight the two cells that begin a pattern, you can just grab that little block on the lower right, click and drag, and it'll put in the remaining values for you because it figures out the pattern. Okay, so now going back to our data, I'm going to copy these cells and I'm going to paste them here. Now when I paste, I'm going to make sure to paste just the text values, okay? And that's important because what I want to make sure is that I don't bring over any kind of funny formatting. I want to keep everything consistent. So I've got Massachusetts, and now I'm also going to be looking for Pennsylvania, so I'll need to go back to the left. And again, same code, TETCB. And there it is. Okay. Scroll over to the end. And again, I want 2013 to 2003. I'm going to copy it. Back to my sheet. I'm going to paste just the values. Okay. So now I've got the data I need to compare Massachusetts and Pennsylvania. And I also need to make sure that this is labeled properly. So I'm going to insert another row here. I'm right-clicking on the first row and choose Insert, which adds another row in front of it. And I'm going to call this Table 1, so it's labeled. And this is going to be total energy consumption. Okay. And you'll recall, too, that what we're looking at here are billion BTUs. Okay. It's important, again, to include that notation about the unit because that's how we're going to understand what we're looking at. Now, billion BTUs, just as an aside, means that these numbers are not the full count of BTUs consumed by each state. Rather, the numbers were divided by a billion in order to make them smaller, so they fit in a smaller space. So essentially, these are only a few of the significant digits. If you wanted to see the true number of BTU consumed by either state, you need to multiply this number by a billion in order to get the number. And we probably, when we did that, we'd end up into quadrillions, which is essentially a number followed by 15 zeros, kind of a large number. So it's much more convenient to write it this way. Okay, once we have this data aligned, arranged, now we can graph it. So in order to graph this data, we'll just highlight the cells with information, including the first two cells that have the names of the states. And under the Insert menu, we'll choose Line, and then I'm going to pick the second line with the markers, and it'll automatically create a graph with the two types of data, two series of data. I want to put this graph on its own page, so I'm going to right-click on it, and I'm going to choose Move Chart to New Sheet, and we'll call it Total. And we'll add the graph to its own sheet so it's a little easier to look at. I'm going to format this graph so it's a little neater and easier to read. So in order to do that, whenever you click on the graph, you'll see the Chart Tools is highlighted, or the menu along the ribbon will change to give you access to different tools. So from the Layout menu, I'm going to add an axis title from the primary vertical axis, and I want to add a rotated tile, which adds a title over here on the left-hand side so that we know what these units mean. So I'm going to highlight that by clicking Control A, and I'm going to call this, these are billion BTU. Okay. I'm also going to add a title to the chart, above the chart, and I'm going to echo the title of the table. So I'll call this Figure 1, it's not a table, Total Energy Consumption, and here I'll add for MA and PA 2003 to 2013. Lastly, I notice along the bottom horizontal axis it just has the numbers 1 through 11. I want it to have the years, that's what it should say. So I'm going to click on that on the chart area, right click and choose Select Data, and you'll see over here on the right hand side it says Horizontal Axis Labels. Click on the Edit and then click on the Select Range button. Go back to your table where you have the information, and I'm going to highlight, click and drag till I've highlighted all of the cells that contain the year labels. Then I'll just hit the Enter key on my keyboard and then click OK. And you'll see now at the bottom of my chart, or my graph rather, I have all the years labeled, and now my graph is prepared, and now I have both a graph and a table, both of which can be copied and pasted directly into a Word document for integration into a larger report.